Welcome to my podcast, Lucy May Walker and Friends, and today we are joined with Graeme Clark.
How you doing?
So I thought that we would just have a little chat all about you.
Great.
I know that makes you nervous.
No, it's my favourite subject, isn't it?
So when we first met, I knew you as a solo musician, but you happen to be in a band. Don't know if they've heard it, but
Yeah.
Wet, Wet, Wet.
Yes. Wet, 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 yeah.
So I kind of wanted to start with asking how you kind of got into music. Have you play bass
I do.
in the band?
I do.
Have you always played bass?
Yeah, I got, I was in the early days, 4 strings seemed a wee bit easier than 6 strings,
Yeah. That's why I played ukulele.
Yeah. So there was, I kind of, like a lot of the kind of music that I listened to, there was a lot of cool bass players around at the time, guys like Nick Lowe, the guy for The Clash, Paul Simonon, he was particularly cool, and it was kind of, it just seemed like a good idea. I liked sort of reggae music growing up, so, there was something about the bass. There was a subtlety around it, because it's not like anything else, You wouldn't. I think a lot of people wouldn't necessarily notice the bass, but they would notice it if it wasn't there, you know. And that was that's been interesting to me, and it still interests me that. So yeah, I kind of gravitated towards the bass, and
What age was that?
Well, I would have been about early teen, sort of 13, 14.
In your teens?
Yes.
Did you have a musical family growing up? Or?
Not particularly. There was music. There was always there was always music in our house, very much, my father listened to music, my mother listened to music, I had 2 older brothers, and we grew up in that kind of golden age in the 60s and 70s of the single, and sort of Radio 2 had just pop music had just exploded.
Yeah.
So, of course, we absorbed all of that, and one of my earliest recollections, my father bringing a cassette recorder with Simon and Garfunkel's Greatest Hits, right? Which, and I remember at the time going, Simon and Garfunkel, and sort of, not really thinking that much about it, and not really it didn't really grab me. And, of course, we now know that, it's utterly classic, Bridge Over Troubled Waters and all the songs that Paul Simon has written. So you're a sponge, you're absorbing all this kind of culture, all this music. And it was kind of going in there somewhere. And then I had a traumatic event in my life. When I was 13, my father died. And it seems to me now, looking back on it, I had no idea of this at the time, but I grieved into a guitar in terms of, I think losing something like that and as big as that and as dynamic as that at that age I was, then music kind of swallowed me up, and I lost myself in music, and
Therapy.
Total therapy, and I would have been 13, 14.
So young.
And from an early age, and just being at school, and it seemed to be everybody's kind of common place to walk was, what music do you listen to? That was the way we spoke to one another, and I think anyone of my age will recognise that it was like, your music taste. And even back then, you couldn't, you could never say, I like Simon and Garfunkel, because you're 13 or 14, you're like, no, I'm a punk rocker, and that's what spoke to me when I was a teenager. It was like this energetic thing, this energy that I, for some reason, really I picked up on, and it kind of grabbed a hold of me.
Yeah.
And it was really handy as well, because it was, music is such a it's a complex thing, you know, whereas punk rock is quite a very simplistic, you know, it's a narrow road, and sort of, so you were able to pick it up fairly quickly, and before you knew where you were, if you had 3 chords, you could basically, you knew your way around a song, you know what I mean? One song,
even
you know.
Still, that's still the case, isn't it? Most songs.
It is applicable, yeah, definitely, and you know, that's the thing, you sort of grow with music, you sort of, you know, you're absorbing all this stuff, and suddenly music does become this complex thing. And, you know, I think what I try to do now is get back to the simplistic way of playing music, you know, in every sort of way, you know, from, you know, it's great to play in the band with the drums and the bass and the guitars and the strings and everything, and the backing vocals and blah, blah, blah.
Big show.
It's great, but it's also really nice to strip all that back and just have an acoustic guitar. And you must know this, because, you know, that's as raw as it gets.
They're my favourite kind of gigs. I don't know if you prefer, I suppose it's different, but like, you know, you've played with the band in like arenas and stuff, but then you've done shows like solo shows where it's like you can see everyone's face. Like, what do you prefer that, or is it's just you can't compare? You can't compare.
No, it's. I mean, you've done gigs with bands, right? You've done your Water Rats gig, and the sort of, you know, there's this communal experience that you all have, and you know, it's something that you really share in, and it's that old thing about it's after the gig, innit, and everyone's kind of high, and it's like, that was brilliant, wasn't it? So I mean, that's a brilliant aspect of it, and I love, you know, playing in a band, you know, and sort of playing bass in a band it's a great vantage point. I mean, it's a great, you know, it's a great place to play the music. It's a great, great vantage point. But there is something exposing about just going up there and sort of looking at songs under the microscope. You know, it's intense. You know, that's what I found. I never realised how intense it was, and that never. What surprises me is, you know, no matter how long I do this, it never becomes easier. You know, it's always that same. Hang on, we're under the microscope again. You know, it's all exposed, and sort of when you begin to process that in your mind, and you must know this. I certainly. It's funny how in tune, and sorry for the pun there, but how in tune you are with, I didn't quite get my finger on that fret properly, as you're singing a song, and there's a million things going through your mind, and it's trying to stay in that focus of, I'm putting the song across, something kind of simplistic, and then you're going, but I met that person down in Waitrose this morning, you know, and this is all going on as you're sitting, you know, and that's an amazing thing for me, you know, that your brain is this powerful thing that just kind of, it's a really difficult discipline, I think, you know, but it's something, you know, certainly the more you do it, the more that you can bring it back to yourself, and it's that whole, you know, I don't want to be kind of an old hippie here, but it's that kind of meditational thing, you know, where, you know, you're playing music, and there's a lot of music that I play just now, and sort of I'm sitting playing it, and then I'm like, oh my God, what time is it? I've not eaten all day, you know, and you've just kind of completely lost yourself, and that takes me back to when I was a teenager, you know, that's what happened back then. I just became absorbed in this world, you know, and it's been therapy, it's been my living, it's been everything. It's defined me as a person, and I'm so thankful that I found it, you know, because I guess it's safe to say that had I not went down that road, you know, we lived in a place called Clydebank, which is in the outskirts of Glasgow, and just to give you a bit of background about that, we went to school, and we were by the River Clyde, and schools would open once we would leave school. I'm talking about when we're 15 and 16. The shipyards would open, and it would swallow up all the school kids, and you would go in, and, you know, Billy Connolly tells the joke about, he went into the shipyard and there was so many jobs there. You had to join a queue, and he said, I joined it. I wanted to be a joiner. He's like, but I joined the wrong queue, and became a welder. And so there was so many jobs. When I left school, or when we left school, Margaret Thatcher was in power, so there was this kind of political climate. I think 3 out of every 4 males were unemployed in my town, So it was fortuitous in a way, because then we didn't have a job to go to, so we could spend our time making music. And I was lucky to find like-minded people that wanted the same thing.
And did you get into like some bands at that age? Did you?
Yeah, we were.
Lots of different ones.
Lots of. That was the beauty of the band that we started. There was Tommy, who used to go and play the clubs, which, he would play with lots of different people, and he would play lots of cover versions, so he was absorbing all the kind of popular music of that day, which turned him into a really well-rounded, drummer.
Did you meet in school?
Yeah, we did on the school bus and all that sort of stuff.
That's crazy.
And we were teenagers, and I thought he had terrible taste in music, because he liked Queen, and I didn't like Queen at the time. How terrible's that, man? That's almost sacrilegious nowadays.
Now?
I do. I mean, of course, you kind of look back and sort of, that's the thing. You grow older and you'd learn to appreciate things that maybe at the time I had no time to. Exactly. I mean, even dare I say, some art that I would never normally look at. The older you get, you go, oh, that's quite nice, and you think, my God, man, I've changed a little bit. You sort of mellow, and you turn into this thing that you can look at things differently. When you're 12 and 13, you just want to get out and run. It's like being a child, isn't it? And with music, that was the beauty, wasn't it? You could go out and run, and escape from 3 out of 4 males being unemployed, and that took all that away and gave me this alternative life. So there was music back then, lots of music. I met Neil, who, the two of us, we loved Bowie, we loved David Bowie, that was huge influence. Ziggy Stardust was like the cassette that we wore out, as I said, there was punk music in there, there was lots of reggae, so there was this kind of melting pot of ideas, and then, so we're figuring out who do we want to be, who, we can be anyone we want, and sort of, so we're looking at, we've got to be this really ham-cod-fisted reggae band, man, and thinking, yes, that's a great way forward for us, man, and then suddenly you meet Marti, who comes in and sort of brings this whole different dynamic of, this kind of really soulful voice, and so, of course, it opens that whole door of this, there's a whole kind of raft of 50s and 60s soul music that was totally untapped, and of course, because, we're growing up and we're teenagers, man, the road is narrow, we're in one street and suddenly the door opens and you're like, oh my God, there's all this other stuff that we've not kind of even taken notice of yet. So, of course, we sort of start listening to Al Green and Otis Redding and all these kind of great, fantastic singers. Yeah. And really, I think what we were doing was we were sort of, trying to emulate these guys, getting it all wrong.
Yeah, but you've got to get it wrong to get it right.
Aye, well, I mean, that was the beauty. The fact that we didn't get it right was we ended up with something that was like, well, it's nothing like what we tried to set out to be, but it's kind of given us our own sound, and suddenly we're down this road and it's all kind of beginning to take shape. And as I say, it was important, and it's always important to meet the right like-minded people on this road that you're going down. And certainly, when we came to sign a record deal, the music business was moving up to Glasgow, it was flying on planes and moving up and signing every act that kind of sort of put their head above, really? Sign them, they might be successful. And so Glasgow was, like I know, well that is a shame, and sort of the way that it kind of totally changed. And certainly in our days, you know, we went out and we played about a dozen gigs over 1984 and 1985. And by the end of those dozen gigs, we'd signed a publishing deal, and we'd signed that like £100,000 record deal, which at that time amounts to the £1 million record deal that you get in X Factor now, you know.
So it was quite a whirlwind. Like, did it seem very fast? Like once you kind of got your sound, and then was it just here we go?
It does now, because you're older and you're sort of reminiscing and you're looking back. It was a whirlwind, you know, but you can do that, you know. You've got youth on your side. You can run fast, you know. You can you've got the energy to kind of, you know, do what's asked of you. And you know, it's a pretty demanding life, but it was a fulfilling environment, you know. It was sort of, we dictated the pace, you know. We wanted it to be fast, you know. So I mean, you know, it was a wee bit different in terms of, we were a band, we got signed, and then we went away for 2 years. You know, the record company theoretically said, right, go away and go and make your mistakes and do all the kind of naughty stuff that we don't want to know about. And
so you did, yeah.
So we did all that, and you know, I mean, basically we wrote our first album in those 2 years, and that's a bit of the difference, you know. Then, you know, record companies did invest, you know. They did see a value in giving a band a bit of space to go and work. Now you've got 10 weeks, man, before Christmas, and if it ain't happening and you're dropped by January, man, and you know, to me that's a difficult place to, you know. It seems as if it got a whole lot faster, and if it's not, you know, to me it was like, you know, when we started, I think the expectation was, well, we'll maybe get a foothold with the first album, and then, you know, we go on to the second album, and, you know, maybe we can build. You know, that was the mentality. It was never spoke about like that, but, you know, there was an element, I think, of, you know, this was going to be a gradual thing. This wasn't going to be, but of course that all changed when you release the first single, and it just goes crazy, and suddenly you're like, oh, it's happened already, and sort of being the people that we were, you know, let's face it, who wouldn't change, man? You know, we came from nothing, and you're like, suddenly you've got money, and people are interested in talking to you, and you just, you know, your head turns, man. You know, it's just a fact of life. That's going to happen.
I remember you telling me about your, like, you had someone that dressed your dressing room. Like, it just went crazy, and you had, like, someone that, was it like, you got balloons for the dressing room?
Ambience coordinator, and it's crazy, man. I mean, you know, in these, if it wasn't right, you're like, where's the balloons, by the way? There's no balloons in here. That's how silly.
That's crazy. I can't imagine you doing that now, but.
Well, I mean, you know, that's the thing. It kind of normalises strange behaviour, and in a sense, you know, looking back on it now, it's almost encouraged, you know. Really. Be crazy, man, you know, be wacky, and we could write a story about that, you know, and so, in terms of that, you know, the other aspect about who we were as people, you know, we were working class guys and that, you know, and we couldn't really, you know, we all had friends back home, and they were experiencing it as well, you know, so they were kind of over the moon for us, you know, but at the same time, we had to go, you know, we lived this kind of parallel universe life, you know, and suddenly you would go back to Glasgow, and you're like, oh, you know, I didn't have any balloons in my dressing room. They're like, oh, well, we never got a gyro this week, you know, and you know, your gyro being your dole check, you know. I mean, that was the kind of, you know, you know, that would bring me back down to earth, you know, in terms of real, you know, real things that people are going through, you know, and it's easy to forget that when you're running in a fast lane, you know. It's easy to kind of lose yourself in the world of nothing.
Oh yeah.
You know, and it's great as well, don't get me wrong, I loved that, but at the same time, you know, my family all stayed up there, so it kind of kept us, you know, grounded in a sense, you know.
That's good. Yeah. And with the songwriting, was it because I know that you obviously write your own songs for your solo stuff. Do you write collectively with the band, or was it?
Yeah, I mean, that's yeah, success has many fathers, you know.
Yeah.
And it's.
What do you get? Obviously, I love it. Love Is All Around Us cover.
It was.
I didn't know that until about 2 years ago.
Aye.
I was a bit disappointed.
I know, man. So think how we were, man. You know, and I mean that was just one of these things that came about. Four Weddings and a Funeral was being made, and it was being made by the film department of the actual record company. So of course they're kind of trawling the back catalogues of people and saying, right, who can we put in this? And it's a song about weddings, right? So you've got wedding bands in there. So they just kind of, I think Richard just got his kind of playlist together of all the songs that he loved when he was a young guy, and sort of put them in the movie. And we get the choice of doing Love Is All Around, Can't Smell Without You, and Gloria Gaynor, I Will Survive, which is the big gay anthem, you know. And so I mean, it was a kind of no-brainer, you know, because we weren't going to do the Barry Manilow thing, because we, you know, much as I love Barry Manilow and all that, you know, Wet Wet as well, you kind of, it's a fine line when you walk on the cheese, man, you know what I mean? It's like, and I think if we were to do a Barry Manilow song, it would be too much. It would be too much, it would be too schmaltzy, I think. And so, of course, when I heard the Trogs song, I just thought, you know, I felt like a lot of 60s records, lots of them sound great, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of them that don't sound sonically great, you know, and I'm talking about things like the guitars aren't really tuned properly and all that. So I just felt, if we get a tuner in there and we kind of tune the guitars and put this bit of music at the front of it, you know, we can create something kind of nice, you know. So we did it really quickly. We never thought anything about it. We thought, oh yeah, that'll be a nice B-side, you know. And of course, because what you're trying to do, whenever you write a song, you encounter problems when you start to think about it and start to think about the process of what am I trying to do here, and suddenly you've got all these obstacles in your way that's preventing you from finishing the song. And I think the fact that it's a cover helped, obviously, but the other fact was we just went in and we just did it over a day and a half, and we never thought about it. And we always say that when you get in to record the song, leave your brain at the door, right? You know, come in and let's just play music. Let's do what we do and try and get back to having fun, you know? And that's what recording should be all about. And, you know, a guy we worked with really early on, Willie Mitchell, although he was a serious Memphis producer, musician, he always said, look, man, it's got to be good fun too. Because that'll show up in the recordings. And
especially now, I feel like so many people, even when they're writing songs, you can't just write a song and like feel something. So many people now are like, right, we have to have this hook, and it has to be this like length of time. It has to be under 3 minutes, otherwise the radio won't play it. And it's like,
well, that's a bad thing.
You can think so
isn't it?
much about it.
Well, you know, and overthinking is never a good thing in music. No. You know, the best things and the most successful things that I've been involved with have always been very, you know, it's been very fluid. You know, it's always kind of happened very quickly, and it's sort of almost written itself. You know, it's like when you write a good line and suddenly you find yourself you're writing the line underneath it because you know, I can't explain that. You know, it just sometimes happens, and it's these moments. You know, I often find myself like in the studio and kind of at that point where you're just like, I'm overthinking this, you know, and how do I come back from that, you know, and suddenly, you know, it's the John Lennon one, and this always sticks in my mind. You know, he says, you've got to finish. You know, if you start a song, finish it. Because if you don't finish it there and then, it's really difficult. You know, if it goes on, then it's difficult to finish it. And how many, as a songwriter, I'm sure there's a million ideas that you've got. Like, well, I've got a verse here. And, you know, I couldn't take it any further because you never finished it at the time, you know. And so that's always something that I try and do. And that often takes away the writer's block that you get into when you're kind of going, oh, God, I'm overthinking this.
You just make sure you finish it and then...
and then it is what it is, you know. But at least if you finished it, you can always go back and chisel away at it. But I mean, you know,
I never seem to though.
I know.
I never go back. I'm like, oh, that's fine. That'll do.
Well, you know, funnily enough, in our first album, you know, when I hear people, I talk to lots of people, lots of songwriters, especially artists that come out at the moment. And there's lots of songs there, you know, they've got like 60, 70 songs, which for me is a lot. When we did Popped In Sold Out, we had 14 songs. That was it, man, you know, and we worked on them, you know, for 2 years, you know. And I always remember, you know, it was like, if it's not the greatest song in the world, at least make it interesting, right? So that was, you know, there was all these things that we pulled in to make that album. You know, we had a 30-year anniversary, you know, and I listened to it, and don't get me wrong, you know, I'm going to be kind of honest here. Some of it did age really well. Some of it didn't age really well, you know, but that's all right too, you know. I mean, you know, we're where we are. You know, we can't change history. It was hugely successful at the time, and it obviously impacted a lot of people, because they still come and see us today and say, oh, I get married to that, and I did my first year at university at that, you know, and so these things have become much more important than they ever were in my day, you know. So now it's like, you know, heritage was almost like a dirty word, you know what I mean? Or Heritage Act, you know what? Well, you don't want to be that, you know. But I think that whole perception is kind of changed quite dramatically, and you know, it's this whole thing about, you know, continuing new music, you know. You know, for you guys, I think it's a really difficult thing to get people to engage in something new, you know, and I think, you know, you do the right thing, because you go out there and you busk, and so people are walking by you, and I mean, there must be a certain amount of soul destroying in there as well.
Oh, yeah. Every day.
I think there must be times in that split second when someone, you know, sort of hears a chord you're playing and turns round, or in some way you affect people with music and with something that's coming from inside. And for me, if you're continually doing that, you're continually connecting. Yeah. You know, and that's, I think, as a musician, the more that I've learned and the more that I've had to unlearn is it's all about coming down and just connecting with people, you know, and you creating something that somehow goes in there and does something to them, you know, and makes them feel in a different way. Yeah.
And like some of my songs, like, I would much rather people, I can see people like crying when I'm singing, and that I love that. Yeah. But if they just don't feel anything, then I'm a bit like, oh.
Well, that, you know, for me, that's what music is. You know, it's such a powerful thing, and I've been in places, I've been in studios where we've recorded things, and we're on tears, and we're all kind of, you know. It's,
that's,
you know,
a good one.
I know sometimes it's not the happiest place, but at the same time, it's invoking, and this powerful wave of emotion is kind of washing over all of us. And for me, that's the power of music. You know, for me, that's why I do it. I try and, you know, whenever I'm writing something, I'm trying to do that. You know, I'm not going through. You know, I'm like you as well. I've went on the songwriting sojourns, and these are great. You know, I love doing that. I love writing songs with people. But it's like a checklist for some people. You know, if we got the, you know, and I went to Nashville once, and it was almost like they have a checklist like, hey, we got the, you know, the 10-gallon jar, and we got the pickup truck, we got the rifle, we got the girl, we got, you know, and it's this checklist of things that you know, and sort of that's the, you know, you sat down. And, you know, I mean, I'll tell you a story. A guy, you know, the guy that comes in, and what he's saying is, he's going, okay, how you doing? You all right? Listen, I've got an hour, you know, so hopefully we can get, you know, but after I did it a couple of times, what I'm reading between the lines is, he's saying to me, I've got an hour. If you're shit, I'm out of here and going and writing with somebody else, you know. So I mean, in that respect, you know, I was always like, you know, and then they would say, what are we writing the song about? And I was like, well, I don't know. Because, you know, for me, it's got to be driven by the music, and the music then dictates to me what the lyric should be saying, you know. Yeah. So in a sense, I don't do myself any favours, because you're sometimes sitting with a blank sheet of paper and the guitar on for like an hour and a half like that. It's no coming today, you know.
And it doesn't. Sometimes it's not the day.
Well, that's, you know, you have to be accepting of that. And it's, you know, those times enable it to happen. You know, when I hear people saying, oh, we wrote that song in an hour, right, or 15 minutes, and you go, no, it's 20 years experience that enables that kind of creative bit, the creative window of 25 minutes, half an hour, that it all kind of suddenly, it's just pouring out of me, you know. And, you know, those are the moments that you kind of try and embrace. Let's face it, because the songwriting gods are not going to be visiting you all the time, man. You know, they come in sort of frequent occasionally and sort of drop things. And those are the best ideas for me, the ones that just drop onto your lap or drop onto your guitar, and you're like, whoa, that's new. I've never seen that before. And that's, for me, I still have that today. As a 52-year-old man, I thought, I've drank this music carton dry, man, you know, but there's still things that I can learn, and there's still people to work with that will show me something different. And you're like, wow.
One of my favourite quotes that I ever heard you say, one day you're a peacock and the next you're a feather duster.
Oh, I don't know that.
It's something like that.
I wish I wish I could take the credit for that. No, that was I don't even know where that came from, but it was some canny Scots mother somewhere up the road. But
I still love that quote.
But that is a great, and that's why I've used it, because it is a fantastic, you know, it
must be hard going from, you know, doing arenas and crazy things I can't imagine with the band, and then I guess you're kind of, as a solo artist, you're kind of starting again. Obviously you've got a certain fan base that you can grow upon, but is it hard?
Yeah, man, it's a real, it's a grounding, innit? You know, it's like you're ground zero, man, you know, and it's like, oh, okay. And because I did feel, and I wrongly, you know, I judged it all wrong. I imagined, you know, if we played to 10,000 people, then if I'm 25% of the band, right, you know, 2,500 people theoretically should come and see me, right? Well, you know, that crossover does not happen. And, you know, in a sense, I'm kidding myself on, you know, I'm kind of, I know, because I'm a realist, you know, I understand the logistics of, you know, the thing about where lots of people fell in love with, you know, Kevin, Marti, Graeme, Neil, Tommy and Graeme, you know, they fell in love with that thing that was Where Wet. They didn't fall in love with Graeme Clark, the singer-songwriter, you know, so...
Some did.
Some did, yes. Sure. I hope so. But yes, some will come over and sort of come and see me, you know, so there is a small crossover. But you're right, you are theoretically starting from the bottom. But I love that, because, you know, we had kind of turned into this, we go out and we play arenas, man, that's what we do, and it's 15,000 people a night. Now, the flip side of that, it's a great thing to do, but, you know, the band slows down, and I'm like, I miss playing live, you know? I want to do that. And so I thought, right, how do I do that? I know, I go and write some songs for myself, and I go and I play these new songs, and I intersperse it with some of the songs I wrote with the band, and I can go out and do it that way, you know. Little did I realise that suddenly I'm suddenly in this life where it's like, I mean, I hadn't heard of Lucy May Walker, to Rain on Your Parade, or Scott Matthews, right? Yeah. Who I see all the time, right? I'm like, there's a whole music business at our level that nobody knows about, you know,
and so many people.
And there's so, you know, that's the difficulty, is there's lots of people doing this, there's lots of people up dancing, and it's a tiny wee dance floor, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no enough room for everybody to get on. You know, and it's like that becomes the daily grind of right. How do I get myself onto the next rung of the ladder?
Yeah.
How do I take? You know, and sometimes, you know, I can become obsessed with that, and that's not healthy, right?
No.
Because all you try to do, how to become more successful, you know, and you turn yourself into somebody like, you know, like I don't mean to bring other people into this, like Jordan or somebody like that, who is continually, how do I keep famous?
Yeah.
How do I keep this? How, you know, and they have to do more and more outlandish things. They have to. We need access, you know. We need to take pictures of your kidneys now because we've taken pictures of everything else. You know what I mean? So, you know, you can get really caught up in that whole kind of silly game, you know. And really, what I'm trying to do is just come back to the basics of, as I said, what I was trying to say when you're doing the 15,000 people, it's a great life and it's a really comfortable life to be in, you know. But it's also nice to go back down. That's where it started for me, you know. I played in front of 50 people. We used to get like 25 people. We used to take them on a bus, bring them into Glasgow, because the Rhetor Company are coming to see us. So we need people, we need the crazy people, you know, that are going to get pissed, stand at the front and go, you're magic, you know what I mean? We needed these people. That's how we built the hype, you know, and the Rhetor Company are kind of going, these guys have already got an audience here, man. You know, little did they know it was our mates, man. You know, they go, we'll buy you a drink if you come up there. You know what I mean? So you
it's
just
a good tip. I might use that. Supply them with alcohol.
Well, that's it. And so I find that I've now come full circle. I've come back to where it started for me. You know, and that's refreshing for me because, you know, I have this. You know, I've lived this kind of really beautiful life where, you know, I've kind of achieved lots of things, you know, and now it's, you know, for me, it's not about the achievement of selling millions of records. You know, for me, it'd be great. You know, we'd all like that, you know, but I mean, the harsh reality is very few of us get the chance to do that. What we have a chance of doing is maybe connecting with people on a, you know, dare I say, a more meaningful level, you know, that is manageable and is not this, you know, I think lots of people come and see me in that environment because they can't get near wet, you know what I mean? They, you know, there's too many people going, you can't get in that dressing room, there's balloons in there, you know.
It's my balloon room.
Balloons being the four Scotsmen, you know, they're balloons, man, you know, but no, it's nice to look in that in a funny way too, but you know, as I say, it is nice to write songs for ourselves, you know, and ultimately that's what you're doing in the hope that, it might go out and somebody might like it. And if somebody does like it, you're like, that's great. That's what it's about.
Can we talk briefly about, because I feel like everyone watching this is being like, you haven't mentioned Marti yet.
I did mention him once, didn't I? I said I did.
And we stood away quickly. I met you doing solo gigs, and then very nicely you asked me to support when Kevin joined the band. So I just wanted to briefly talk about when Marti left, because I didn't know a massive deal about, like, I knew all the songs and everything, but I didn't know your fan base is very, very like loyal, diehard Wet fans, and I know there was a lot of. You know, it's very controversial when Marti decided to leave the band. And I watched an interview recently with Tommy where he kind of spoke about it. And it was good because from what I heard, it was like this split of like, no, Marti is the band and blah, blah, blah. And very loyal to him and not kind of knowing how that came about where he left. So what happened, Graeme?
See, the great thing, I mean, Tommy's a really great talker, as well as being an amazing drummer, an amazing musician. You know, Tommy's got a knack of, you know, he's really at home, he's really comfortable, you know, talking about things like that. You know, sometimes when I talk about things that are emotional to me, you know, I can sound bitter, I can sound frustrated, and I can sound angry. Tommy manages to say this without any anger, frustration.
It sounded like, we're fine, everything's fine.
Water off a duck's back. And you know, I think Tommy is like that. You know, I think that's the way Tommy is. you know, I don't think you can play in a band and share that 30 years experience with people and it not have an effect on you. You know, a huge, you know, we've all had huge impact on each other's life, you know. So I mean, Marti released a statement, and you know, that was the first we heard about it. You know,
that's shocking.
Well, it's shocking. It's, you know, so sometimes I think that would have been what I think should have happened was maybe, you're not going to like this, but I'm out of here, right? And I think I wouldn't have liked it.
No.
But I would have known.
Yeah.
And I could have dealt with it. Instead, we were kind of reading about stuff, you know. Awful. So I mean, there is that, you know, to me, you know, it's hard to kind of, you know, I'm still dealing with it, you know. I mean, I'm still kind of figuring, right, how do I figure this out without kind of, you know, getting the wrong end of the stick and it being frustration and anger, you know. And you know, I have to come back and sort of look at it in a sense, you know, I think that bands are a really difficult place, you know. I go out myself, listen, it's great, because I only have to answer to myself, right? When you're in a band, there's 4 other maniacs, man, who are tugging on and saying, why you don't, you know, it's a difficult place, man, you know. And Elton talks about that, you know. I listen, you know, I really like Elton. I really like Elton John. Really like what he says. He speaks about a band's a really difficult place to be. That's why I'm Elton John, you know. So as I write my songs and you know, and I do what I have to do. You know, I couldn't really, and he says I couldn't really be in a band. I couldn't really understand that at the time.
Really?
But I really understand it now. And I think for a singer as well, it's a really difficult place, because, you know, not only are you the front man and the sort of mouthpiece, whenever we were on stage at the sound check, whenever roadies, not roadies, but like if we were doing some filming on a live stage, whenever any of the director guys wanted to know it, they would just go straight to Marti, right? They'd be like, how the fuck am I meant to know? You know what I mean? So, I mean, as well as being that whole vocal point for everybody, you know, you've got 4 guys in the band. Hey, you know, I think we should. Can you sing this way? You know, so it is a difficult terrain to be in, and you know, so there's times when it becomes not only difficult but just unmanageable, and you know, the thing is at these points, and we did this. We did have that valve where we could, you know, we would tour, it would be intense, and then everyone would go away, you know, and leave each other, and then we would have the space would be created, you know, that we could live comfortably within the confines of what a band does, you know. Sometimes I just get the feeling, you know, Marti always said, if it stops becoming fun, we won't do it anymore, you know. And I think, you know, towards the end, as Marti started moving, you know, and I don't want to put words in his mouth or speak from, you know, but it was kind of obvious, you know, he was moving to theatrical things, he was moving into, you know, musical theatre, he was doing all that, and I think he enjoys that more than coming in before idiots going like that, we think you should sing it, you know, can we do that, you know, and of course, you know, I think when you're getting a lot of confrontation, and you do get that in bands, you know, there's a lot of people kind of know this is what we should be doing, and Neil have his opinion. No, this is what we should be doing. Tommy is no, we should be doing this. I'm saying, no, we should be doing that. Marty's going, well, I'm going to do musical theatre in the meantime, you know. So I got the feeling that, you know, it wasn't really a happy place for him, you know, and maybe this is the way it has to be, and you know, I don't think you can do that 30 years without it. You know, always continually coming back, and he's always going to be inextricably linked with the band, and he's also going to be, you know, it's the Venn diagram, isn't it? We're all kind of meeting in the middle there, you know what I mean, in the circles. So, you know, I think, you know, we will be forever linked, you know, and but we got Kevin.
Yeah. So how did that? Well, I kind of know briefly, but how did that come about for people that don't?
Well, Kevin was, you know, Marti left. So we were like, right, there's two things we can do. We can disband, or we can keep going, and we find some guy to come in and do the job. And we were all...
Was that an obvious thing for you? Was it more obvious to get someone new than...
I mean, I didn't, you know, I've always felt that we've got a little bit more to say musically.
Yeah.
You know? So I felt that there was no way that we could kind of close it down. So it was always on my radar that we were going to need a new singer at some point, and you know, we were going to need to get a guy in, get a new buddy, you know, get a new mate, and it's like, it's not that easy when you get 30 years of history there that you're trying to recreate, you know. And so Kevin got put on our radar. Somebody sent Neil's wife Olivia sent the she sent the YouTube video of Kevin on The Voice.
Oh yeah, because he won. Did he win?
He did. He won. Yeah, I mean, and that's an interesting thing for me. You know, the whole fact that Kevin, you know, his whole kind of experience, not all of the experience, but a big chunk of his experience has been through the way the music business changed and the sort of, after we got into the 2000s, you know, suddenly there was all this talent show, you know what I mean? That was what the way it went, you know. And we can have our opinions on that, but it did become...
That was the way to make it, wasn't it?
Well, it was the way that the music business kind of sort of switched over, you know. It never, you know, it didn't become the music business because, you know, Lucy May Walker and Scott Matthews and Graeme Clark, you know, I'm never going to get on a talent show, right? And even if I got on a talent show, man, I wouldn't get anywhere near it, man. You know what I mean? So, I mean, there's got to be another place for a guy like me, you know. And but a guy like Kevin, you know, he's come up through that whole kind of talent show thing. So, for me, you know, when I heard him singing, he kind of blew me away to start with, you know. And I knew a guy called James Fox who I'd got friendly with back then, and he did Fame Academy, and I'd got quite friendly with him. So he was buddies with Kevin. So he was I kind of knew him, but I didn't know him, if you know what I mean. I kind of knew of him, and so I was aware, you know, and you know, I knew he could sing a song. So it was a matter of Olivia sent YouTube and said, "What about this guy?" And I thought, that's interesting. He's got a fantastic voice, you know. I'll tell you what, the first thing you do, you have to meet the guy, right? Because you know, we're all idiots, man. You know what I mean? So you don't know what idiots coming in, man. No offense, Kevin. But you know, we're sitting, and I said, "Why don't you come down and we'll have a chat?" And we sat in here and we talked for 2 hours. I realised I could get on with him, you know. He was a level-headed, smart guy, man, you know what I mean? Kind of knew what he wanted to do. And I'd sort of said to him before I'd even heard him sing, I said, you know, I like you so much, I would offer you the gig here and now. I said, but there's a committee, we're a band that's kind of got to go through the process. And, you know, Tommy and Neil and Graeme and the manager, Dougie's got to kind of, they've got to accept you as well, you know. So he was about to leave, and I said, you better come in and sing this song. And so he came in and he sang Goodnight Girl. And I just knew, you know, you just knew, you know, he came in, he you know, he put his own little stamp on it, he did his own little thing, he's like, you don't mind if I read the lyrics off the phone and all that, and I was like, absolutely, go for it, man, you know, and he's sort of just, you know, he's kind of one eye on it and one eye with me, and we're nose to nose, and I'm like, do you know what, I can work with you, you know, I can work with you, I can, you know, we can create somewhere where we can go and we can work together. And you know, yeah, I mean, this is the interesting part, isn't it? In the next kind of 2 years, how does this unfold now?
It's
you know,
exciting because it's like when you first created where you probably never thought of having different band members, but it's kind of gives it a fresh kind of start that other bands probably don't get that opportunity to, you know, start again.
You're totally right. It's this invigoration, and you know that there is a, you know, sometimes you need to shake the tree, man. You know, sometimes you need to, you know, even with Graeme Clark, you know, I kind of, you know, continually think, actually, I need to change things up. You know, I could write a load of songs, but sometimes I'm like, no, because I need to do something
different,
a wee bit different, you know. So I mean, with Kevin coming in, it invigorated us, you know. It made us kind of think, hang on, this is a new kind of energy coming in, taking it a different way. We can play some of the songs that we have. I mean, we had a back catalogue there. We cruised, man. You know, we cruised for 10, 15 years, I think. You know, the set list never really changed. You know, we had tried and tested things. And don't get me wrong, there's certain songs that we can't, that we just can't not play.
Yeah.
You know, there's songs that if you come to one of our gigs, yeah, exactly. So, but it gives us another wee option of songs that haven't seen the light of day for 20 years, you know, that we haven't even touched, that we haven't went back to, and it gives us a chance to reintroduce ourselves to the band.
Yeah.
You know, because as I say, you cruise, man. You know, you get on that kind of crest of a wave, and you're sort of way up there, and kind of this is great.
What works,
Yeah, and so for me, it's this kind of not only a continuation, but a sort of reinvention in a sense, you know, without reinventing the wheel, you know. But we've got a chance of kind of, you know, we get the chance of writing new songs. You know,
does he write as well? Or?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, I mean that. You know, that's the whole point, isn't it? He's got to come.
Yeah.
It'd be pointless me saying, "Hey, Kevin, come and sing this," you know.
Yeah.
Because that's for Graeme Clark, isn't it? You know.
Exactly. Keep them for yourself.
So I mean, he has to come and offer something. You know, that's the point of being in a band, isn't it? It's difficult.
And
because it's songwriting by committee, isn't it?
Exactly.
You know,
it is still co-writing. So.
Yeah.
And do you think, have you seen a difference in, like, I don't know, I was saying that earlier, it's like 80%, 90% of your fan base have been there from the start. Would that be kind of accurate?
Aye, that's, you know, we've pulled people along for 30 years, man,
which is
you know.
amazing. But do you think it's probably going to help having Kevin to kind of build and have new fans, and maybe a younger. Not saying, you know, there's nothing wrong with, you know, but
no, listen,
maybe
you're right.
Younger fan base.
You're right. You're totally right.
Have you noticed that already, or?
Well, I mean, Kevin had, you know, we speak about this, you know, the social media thing that wasn't around back in our day, you know, and this is quite an important facet of the business nowadays, and sort of Kevin kind of comes in with that whole side of it, kind of, it's up and running. You know, we've got healthy social media too. You know,
you're not doing too badly.
We're not doing too badly, exactly. So, but I mean, it's not. You know, for us, it was like, you know, this wasn't something. I think a lot of people get the horse and cart the wrong way, don't they? Where the social media is kind of happening, man, but they can't sell 100 tickets in the local town hall, man. So, you know, for me, there's still that big disconnect. But a guy like Kevin, who has been on Saturday night primetime telly, you know, I mean, that's
got a big fan base.
You know, there's a fan base there. Exactly. Don't think for a second that we're not thinking, hang on, he's a young geezer, isn't he? Oh, he might bring something to the party here. Yeah, of course. It's kind of hand in hand for him as well as it is for us. I mean, to get a new singer for Wet Wet, you know, we went through a couple of guys, you know, where it was like, and no disrespect to the guys could sing, but, you know, you know, you have to fit as well.
Oh,
It has to kind of be a comfortable fit for everybody, you know, and so that was the difficulty. It was like getting everybody to agree, or, you know, what about this guy, what about that guy, you know, and suddenly you're like, this must be like what X Factor's like, you know. I've looked at that, he looks great, but
when they put like bands, like One Direction, when they put them together.
I mean, it just, you know, and that felt slightly alien, you know. Suddenly you're like, oh, we doing the right thing, and that's where we began to hope. I hope we just find a guy that we all go, you'll fit in here, man, you know, come in, you know, because it's kind of obvious, you know. There was a couple of really young guys. And that was on a radar. Whoa, this introduces us to a brand new audience. But, you know, as I say, it's got to fit for him.
I think it's a good fit. From what I've seen.
Well, you've heard the music. You've heard what, you know, I think a lot of people were reticent around Wet and a new singer. But they're always going to be reticent, because until you take them up there, lead them up to the stage and say, this is how it's going to work, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, let's play. Then people go, all right, I see that now, you know. I didn't really see that before, you know. And I think there's always
a chance, you know.
There's always a resistance to change, I think. You know, I think there's, you know, all the positivity around and all the goodwill around Wet, you know, there's tons of it, you know, there's lots of it. And of course, I'm not going to be churlish enough to say there's no negativity at all. Of course there's negativity, you know. Of course there's people that can't see the band without Marti. That's fine. If it's not for you, please feel free to, you know, to go and listen to your Popped and Sold Out and live in your own little wet world. But, you know, I want to work. Tommy wants to work. Neil wants to work. We want to be a band that go out there and play. And, you know, there'll be a day that we can't work, right? You know, hopefully, exactly. Not for a long, long time, but I mean, let's go back to Elton. He's doing his farewell tour. You know, and this is what surprised me. You know, when he announced it, he said, "I'm doing a farewell tour," and then sort of 3 days later, he's like, "Over 3 years," you know. And I think,
didn't hear about this. How have I missed that?
I know, but only because I follow him on social media, and so it's all coming up, and you know, so. You know, I think he's kind of smart enough to go, I can't really just stop doing this dead, because I've done it all my adult life. You know, he's done it since he was a teenager.
Yeah, pretty sure you'd be lost, like, without
I think
something to do with music.
I agree. I think that, you know, I think the other thing that maybe comes into play is the physicality of continually kind of doing something that you know is a physical thing, you know, like, you know, it's like we spoke about going out running and all that, and I'm like, I can't run anymore because my knees and my ankles are goosed, man, you know. But there comes a point in time when, you know, like Frank Sinatra, when he did his last tour, you know, he wasn't hitting the notes that he would have hit, and you're like, there comes a point in time when you just can't do it anymore, you know. So I mean, I feel I'm in the prime of my life. I feel 28, man, you know what I mean? So we're going to continue to be 28, you know, for the next kind of few years.
So you've got the, we'll wrap up in a second, but you've got the tour coming up. So this is going to go out on the 1st of April.
Yeah.
Tour kicks off at the end of
April. It does. We start rehearsing around about the 14th and 15th of April. And then I think the first gig's on the 26th or the 27th, and we start in Scotland. We've got a gig in Perth and Glasgow.
That's a nice way to start it off for you guys. It's great, yeah. And
then we go all around the country and finish up in London at the end of May. So it's a fairly intense tour from the end of April to sort of late May.
And can people expect anything very exciting? Got any exclusive news about?
Well, yeah, I mean, lots of new songs.
Okay.
Not lots of new songs. There'll be a new song or two.
One new song.
One new song. Yeah. So I mean, there's that. There's also, you know, another reason for doing this tour was we always felt that we got a momentum going when we toured, and you play. You know what it's like if you play sort of 5 dates on the road. Suddenly you're like, I can really play this guitar now, you know, and sort of you kind of match fit and sort of, wow, I'm flying here, man, you know, because you're forced into doing, and let's face it, a gig is like 10 rehearsals. You know, a gig sharpens you up, really, because you need to focus, you know. So for me, we never ever came off a tour and then went into the recording studio. So this time, we're going to do the tour, and then we're going to take 2 or 3 days, go into the recording studio. You know, hopefully there'll be some songs to record.
Great.
And, you know, we'll hopefully combine that with some old material as well, you know. And I think that's the way forward. I'm not so sure that the album, you know, I think for Wet Wet, you know, a new album might be something that we can do at some point, you know. But I feel if we go out and tour and say, we're touring this new album, you know, I think people would, you know, they would hate it if we said, and we're going to play the 10 tracks from it right now, you know. People would just be like, oh my God, man, I'm not here to hear the new album, you know. And I feel like that with some bands, you know. When I go and see a band nowadays, I want them to play the songs that I like, you know, and the songs that I know.
Exactly.
So, I mean, you know, Wet Wet's no different. I think you can get away with one or two new songs, you know, 2 or 3, maybe 4 or 5 new songs.
Okay, yeah, you don't want to give it all away. Yeah.
So, I mean, listen, this is going to be a way forward for Kevin as well. I think, you know, coming in, writing a song, bringing something that, you know, he can lay his claim to Wet Wet. You know, I mean, that's really it. You know, it's like, you know, this is a new dawning for the band. You know, so we can reinvent ourselves and obviously give people what they want to hear, which is, you know, some of the old songs. So it's an exciting time for us, aye.
It's cool. I'm excited for you.
Ah, great.
Right. Thanks very much.
Oh, Lucy, it's
nice
been a pleasure, man. It's great. It's great to see you. And
if people want to like follow you specifically, your music, where can they find you?
Well, I'm on Twitter at Graeme Clark 1.
That's annoying. Why 1?
I kind of like Graeme Clark 1 because it's number 1 and all that, you know, and 15 weeks and all that. So, yeah, my Instagram's Graeme.Clark. And then you can also graemeclark.co.uk. You can come in there, and all social media goes off that. It's a landing page, so you can go in that.
You're on Spotify and iTunes and all that.
I am on Spotify, yes.
Polaroid Love is my favourite song.
That's nice. Yeah, thanks.
You're welcome.
Well, listen, before we go, you gave me a signed CD. My car got stolen, and they took it.
What?
They took the.
Your car got stolen?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll bring you another one, but I don't have one with you.
That would be great, man. That would be great. That was, you know, almost the CDs that I'd kind of collected, and they sort of sit in your car, don't they? And I've got a CD player in there, and I was kind of, you know, occasionally pop in when you turn on and like, there's Lucy.
I'll get you another one.
Well, thanks. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you very much. Stay there because we need to take a picture.
All right.
Oh, you can talk, Graeme, can't you?
Oh, man.
Perfect.